Today we're going to talk about 5 ways your Social Security could increase, and one way it's almost definitely going to decrease if we don't do something here in the very near future. All right, so my name is Ed Weir. I ran the third business Social Security office in the country. If you're new to my channel, this is also a live Q&A. It looks like I already got a bunch of questions here, so let's get right into the topic of the day so we can start answering all of your questions. All right, so the 5 ways your Social Security can increase over the years, even if you're already receiving benefits. You already know the first one, the COLA. And there's a lot of people out there in social media land that continuously talk about the COLA for months and months and months. And oh, the future COLA is going to be this, that, and the other. Nobody knows. How COLA is determined is by the third quarter of this year, so which ends September 30th. So about the first week in October, we will know COLA, what the COLA is. So anybody that says anything about COLA between now and September 30th is just speculating, is just wasting your time, basically. So what they do again is the third quarter of this year, they compare a basket of goods to see how much of that basket of goods increased over the prices. And from last year, so 2024 third quarter last year versus the 2025 third quarter, and they say, hey, prices increased 1%, 2%, 5%, 100%, whatever the case may be, and that's how the COLA is determined. So anything before, any speculation before basically September 30th is pretty much useless. So that is one, and all that is 100% automatic. Once the Department of Labor, the accountants there do their calculations. This is not political, how it's actually calculated on a year-to-year basis. The entire program, COLA, how it's calculated going back to the 1970s, I don't agree with how they calculate it, but how it comes up on a year-to-year basis, the basket of goods they choose is, many people think it's incorrect. But anyway, but the COLA itself, it's not political. So people say, well, when this person was president, I got a higher COLA, or when this person's president, I got a lower COLA, so it must be their fault. No, it has nothing to do with who's in the office. It's 100%. The accountants do the calculation, and that's how it works out. So, and the COLA is 100% automatic. I get questions all the time, says, hey, I'm filing for survivor benefits. Do I get a COLA? I'm filing for disability benefits. Do I get a COLA? Yes. Once they come up with a COLA, then they take all 70 million Americans that are receiving Social Security benefits and they increase the benefits based on the COLA. 100% automatic. Everybody gets it. So nothing you have to do. All right. So the next way your Social Security benefits can increase are called ARF. This is called the adjusted reduction factor. All right, so if you file for benefits early, which is before your full retirement age, and when you do that, your benefits are reduced. So if you start your benefits 30 months early, your benefits are reduced by 30 months, right? You don't have to wait a year, your birthday, or anything like that. Every month you retire early, your benefits are reduced by 1 month, okay? So let's say you retire 30 months early. But then you decide to go back to work. And remember, when you retire early, there's a limit to the amount of money you can make. This year, it's the $23,400. So if you go over $23,400, Social Security will hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So if that happens to you, you retire 30 months early, but then you go back to work after 10 months and you no longer get a check for the remaining 20 months, then why is your benefit reduced by 30 months? Exactly. So that's where they increase your benefit. Once you hit your full retirement age, the computer system, this is automatic as well. The computer system automatically looks at your record and says, hey, John, we reduced your check by 30 months because that's when you started your benefits, but you only took 10 months of those. So from now on, we're only going to reduce your benefits by 10 months for the rest of your life. So instead of 30-month reduction, it's a 10-month reduction. And that is also 100% automatic. It usually takes a little time once you hit your full retirement age. People, don't come into my live Q&A and say, hey, I just got this extra increase benefit and stuff like that. What's going on? And it's like, well, it's not the COLA, it's the ARF. All right. Another way you can get your benefits increase is by the way Social Security calculates your benefits in the first place. And that's by your high 35 years of earnings. So they don't look at your last 1 or last 3 or last 5 years of earnings. They look at your high 35 years of earnings, come up with an averaged index monthly earnings, multiply those by these bin points, 90%, 32%, 15%. So that's how the sausage is made. Anyway, if you go onto my website, it tells you exactly how benefits are calculated. So you go onto my new website, and I've got all kinds of resources, free resources about retirement, disability, survivor, family, living overseas, veterans, Medicaid, how to appeal a decision. Those are all free. Got calculators in there. When to start your benefits, when's your full retirement age. So check out that. And if you want to suggest anything or subscribe or be free, but yeah, it's completely up to you. They're all 100% free. Okay, so your high 35 years of earnings. If you continue to work and that work is one of your high 35 years of earnings, then your benefits will increase. So let's say you're 77 years old and you've been receiving benefits for decades. And then you get a job, you start working, and you pay into Social Security. What happens is when Social Security gets that notification of how much you made, you talk to your friends at the IRS and pay all your taxes and all that stuff. And then Social Security gets that information in January, February of the following year. And they look at it and they say, hey, or Betty has been receiving benefits for a few decades, but she worked last year. Is the work she did last year one of those high 35 years of earnings? Oh, what it is. All right. So they kick out one of the low years. They stick in that new high 35 year and they recalculate, and your benefits go up for the rest of your life. And again, that is also 100% automatic. That one takes a little bit more time. So sometimes in October, people finally get that increase in October, even though it's for work the previous year. But you will get retroactive. So if you don't do your taxes till April or May, and then Social Security doesn't do the calculation until July or August, if they don't do the calculation until August for some reason, they will, and your benefit is increased by $10, they will give you retroactive all the way back to January. So you'll get $10, February, $10, March, $10, and for the rest of your life, the extra $10. So that's 100% automatic as well. Okay. Another one that increase your benefits is probably one of the main reasons I do this channel, is because people are filing for the wrong benefits or not getting the benefits they are actually eligible, entitled to, and need. So if you're receiving retirement benefits, eventually maybe your benefits could go up because you're now eligible for also spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits or independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. And again, I do a bunch of videos on this, so you can go to my website. Again, it's mygovexpert.com. And let me throw the website down there. So it's mygovexpert.com, and you go in there. And family benefits, for instance, talks about spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits. I'm going to get rid of that little annoying little circled dot there. That's annoying. So I'll get that out of here in a couple of days. Independent to divorce spouse benefits. So there's a lot of people that are eligible for other benefits, but they don't know they're eligible for those other benefits, and therefore they're losing a lot of money. We've probably found tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars for people through this channel over the last couple of years, because they're like, wow, I didn't know I was eligible for survivor benefits on my first spouse because I was remarried, and I thought that disqualified me from getting benefits on a prior spouse. Same thing on divorce spouse. People think, well, yeah, I was married to someone in my 20s and 30s. I was married to that person for 10 years, but then I got remarried, but I'm now divorced. But, the first husband or first, wife, she, making a lot of money. But since I got remarried, I can't get that. No. You can. If you're now no longer married, you can get benefits from your first ex-spouse, second ex-spouse, third ex-spouse, whichever one is the most money. So that is a way a lot of people are increasing their benefits, is realizing that maybe they're eligible for another program. Again, so this is not only Social Security in terms of retirement, survivor benefits, disability benefits, but it's also Medicare, people eligible for the Medicare savings program, where state Medicaid pays for your $185 for your Part B premium. That's going to increase your Social Security by $185 because the state is going to pay for your Medicaid, for your Medicare Part B premium. So yeah, there's so many different programs out there and that's what I spend a lot of time on this channel doing, is making sure people get the benefits they're eligible for. All right. So the last way, the fifth way that your benefits can increase is called voluntary delayed retirement credits. Not many people use this because not many people know about it, and it's basically once you start reaching your full retirement age, 66 and 6 months or 10 months or 67 or whatever the case may be, you can actually voluntarily stop your benefits, suspend your Social Security benefits, because when you wait to collect your benefits after your full retirement age, then your benefit amount goes up 8% every year. So if your benefit amount is $1,000 at your full retirement age, if you wait till 70 to collect that, 8% times 3, 24%. So you'll get it $1,240. And what a lot of people don't know is they can actually suspend their benefits once they get close to their full retirement age, suspend that so they can get that extra 8%. Not a lot of people do this, and one of the reasons is because they don't know about it, and people can't suspend their benefits, but it's out there, it's available. And one of the other problems is every time I tell someone about this, I talk about it in my video, I get a question the next day. Somebody comes back in and said, "Ed, you're a liar. I went down to the local Social Security office and they laughed at me. They said there's no such thing." I said, "Well, okay, here's the reference. You talk to a customer service representative, not a Title II claim specialist who is a specialist in that. You just talk to someone at the front windows. Go back there, give them this reference," and they go back the next day, and that person at the front window apologizes and say, "Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that." And so hopefully they apologize. But so anyway, all right. So one last way your benefits can change, and unfortunately change for the worst, is it looks like it's an inevitability, is that everybody's going to get their benefits cut here in a few years because we have failed, our politicians have failed to fix Social Security. So, and there's a lot of misinformation out there on my website. I'm adding another section on the top of it's going to be internet myths. So about Social Security and stuff like that. So Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So one of those is Social Security is not going bankrupt. Social Security, as long as we don't give it to Wall Street or privatize it, give it to the billionaires or something, if we just keep Social Security essentially the way it is, it will be here for hundreds of years, because Social Security, they pay out what comes in. So as long as people are working, I guess as long as AI doesn't replace us all, but as long as people are working, they're paying FICA taxes, money comes into Social Security. So it's always going to be here as long as people are still working. The problem is how much needs to go out. Right now, we have X amount coming in, we have X amount going out. You see that gap there? What's filling the gap? The trust fund. The trust fund that has been built up since the 1980s. That trust fund, that savings, is slowly being depleted. If you're getting a Social Security check right now, you're getting part of the trust fund. Probably about 6, 7, 8% of your check comes from the trust fund. And that's running out. It's going to run out in about 2034, under worst case scenario 2031, but as of right now about 2033, 2034. And at that time, the trust fund will run out. So we'll get this much coming in, that much going out, and nothing to cover the gap. And therefore, everybody is going to get a cut, a 20% cut across the board. There's no grandfathered in. There's no, well, I've been receiving benefits for, decades. They won't mess with mine. No, that's not how Social Security Act works right now. They can only pay out what they get in or what they have in the trust fund to cover the deficit. And we've known about this for decades. And I always get comments, "Ed, you're talking about the same thing for decades." Yeah, we've been talking about it for decades. When are we going to take action to actually fix this? So, and for the regular viewers out there, the number one solution we always recommend is raising the cap. If you're making $176,100, you're exempt from FICA, Social Security after that amount. The rest of us, yeah, we have to pay FICA on every dollar we make. So there's that. All right. So those are 5 ways your benefits can increase, and one way, unfortunately, they're probably going to decrease. All right. Let's get into some questions. And I've got a new thing we're going to try. I put it up there, a recording. I'm going to pop it up there again in the chat. So if you click on that link, and also put it in the description of this YouTube, and once I'm done, but you can click on that link and you'll see my face pop up there, and it'll give you an opportunity to record yourself, a video of yourself. You have 2 minutes. You can ask a question, make a suggestion, make a comment, complain about something, whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. And then you can record it, and then I'll watch it. But by recording it, you're giving me full authority to put it on YouTube and Facebook and social media and stuff like that. So if you have a question about Social Security you want to ask, then ask it, and I will pick a few every week and do a live Q&A and play the video and answer your question. So don't leave any personal information, just, your name and city and state, and that's it. Don't obviously leave your Social Security number and phone number or anything like that. So let's try that, because just watching me read your typed out question is super boring. We want to see your awesome, beautiful faces, right? Daisy asks, is there any way to stop SCOTUS from allowing the Social Security records for being open files for anyone? Can I sue them to stop this? In America, you can sue anybody for anything. But in terms of that, the only thing that could change this would have to be Congress would have to pass a law, a constitutional law that says they're not allowed to see it. So, and then I'm actually going to do a video tomorrow kind of about this. There's a bill in Congress that Senator Whitehouse is that's submitted. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. So hopefully, yeah. But no, you can sue anybody, can sue anybody for anything, but there is a Freedom of Information Act. I know there was. You can do a Freedom of Information Act. Just type in FOIA, FOIA, and request that you be informed of who in the Doge team was given your information. I think some people are doing that. So, all right, Pink Owl, thank you very much for the administrative help there. We appreciate it. Let's see. Here we go. Here's our first hero of the day, asking for a friend, looking out for other people. You are too awesome. Asking for a friend, that is collecting survivor benefits of a former postal employee. She called Social Security about WEP and was told only her deceased husband was eligible and she was not. Is that correct? Well, yes, because the former spouse was receiving benefits, and if they work for the post office, depends when they work for the post office, their benefits were recalculated based on WEP, the windfall elimination provision. So yes, that is correct. But if your friend is receiving surviving spouse benefits, they might increase because the deceased's record might be recalculated because WEP is no longer a factor. So the way you wrote it there, yes, that is correct, but that still doesn't mean that she might not benefit from that. So maybe she talked to somebody at the front windows. I would have her call again and say, hey, and ask it like this. Say, hey, I'm receiving surviving spouse benefits. My ex-husband was WEP'd. I believe he was WEP'd, so his benefit was recalculated. Has he been unwept? Because if he's unwept, his PIA, his primary insurance amount, will increase, and therefore your surviving spouse will increase, surviving spouse benefits. So ask to see if the deceased spouse's record was wept and subsequently unwept within the last few months. So what about the bill in Congress passed into law saying that anyone who is on SSI, who is a long-term health care facility, is only receiving $30 a month? Yeah, I'm not sure. Passing the law, I'm not sure about that one. Because SSI, the max you can get is $967 for SSI. That's the welfare-based program. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. So, How much could your Social Security change if you keep working past 70? Well, if number one is don't collect your benefits after 70 because your Social Security benefits stop increasing the month you turn 70. So, but in terms of after 70, yeah, same with anything else. COLA, if you work and pay into Social Security, yeah, they will increase. How much? It really depends on the COLA. It really depends on how much you work and what your other work was throughout your life. Oh, and I got to make a correction. I don't believe I missed this yesterday. I misspoke yesterday. I was talking about hurricane season in Florida. And I grew up in Florida, went to high school in Texas, but my mother's home was destroyed in Hurricane Andrew. So I terrible that I misspoke. I said hurricane season starts in December. What I meant was it starts now and goes all the way until December. So it starts in June, technically, November 31st or something. Yeah, December 1st, it ends in December. So yeah, I said it started in December. No, it ends in December. It starts now. So I misspoke. Yeah, that's terrible that I misspoke on something that affected my family. So terrible. But anyway, my friend is considering retirement. He is 69 and self-employed mechanic. What should he do? Yeah, if he's self-employed mechanic, if he, then he paid himself. Hopefully, he paid actual taxes and FICA taxes and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, he should not wait till past 70 years old because his benefits will no longer increase past 70. And um, if he's a self-employed mechanic, hopefully he filed for Medicare at 65. Because if he didn't get Medicare A and B, then yeah, unless his company that he works for has 20 or more employees, then he's going to be penalized 10% for every 12 months he didn't have Part B. And he won't be able to sign up for Medicare until January, February, or March. So yeah, so he's got two issues he needs to address. Is start those benefits and check out Medicare. So I think there should be verbiage in a bill on when we get a COLA. Our rent is affected, and so are food stamps. It is like the right hand gives and the left hand. Yeah, well, the COLA is done. Everybody gets the COLA exact same time. End of December, January. So SSI gets it a few days earlier. But anyway, yeah, it's happens like clockwork every year since the 1970s. In the early 1970s, they took it out of the political realm. Before then Congress used to debate how much COLA to give and stuff like that. And they said, yeah, this is, BS. Shouldn't be done like this. It should be automatic based on, inflation. So in the early 1970s, they took COLA out of the political football realm and they just said, here, accountants, bean counters, y'all do the calculations, and that's it. So that's why it's not political. Again, the basket of goods they choose, that's an issue. And I've got, if you want to know why it should be different, I've got that on my website. So let's see, got other questions here. I'm turning 65. What should I get? Turning 65. Well, number one, you're turning 65. So the big thing is the milestone for 65 is Medicare. So if you don't have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and that employer has to have 20 or more employees, but if you don't have health insurance, then you need to sign up for Medicare. Part A, Part B. Part A is, zero premium for most people. Part B is $185 this year. And then you also need to find a Medicare plan, unless you've got a whole bunch of money sitting under your mattress somewhere, some type of Medicare plan to cover all the gaps of original Medicare, either a Medicare supplement plan, which is the ones I always recommend checking out first, or a Medicare Advantage plan. But you'll need to do something, and you can reach out to Chapter there and they can help you out. My friend is 16. Okay, they already answered that one. Someone became a member, silver member. Thank you for thank you for your support. You're too awesome. I appreciate it. Vince, my friend is okay. So same question here. Jennifer, I'm on permanent disability for my student loans. I received a letter saying my loans were forgiven. 2 weeks ago, I looked at my credit report. My student loans were on there, supposedly a letter. Yeah, you need to reach out to your servicing, whoever serviced those loans, and check that out. They did change. So many changes nowadays. It's hard to keep up. They said they're going to withhold 15% of people's Social Security checks for student loans. And then they said, okay, well, never mind. So then they changed. So it's hard to keep up nowadays. There's so many changes happening on a weekly basis. So let's see. Today I went to check on Social Security, but they said I should be off work and asked me for a letter from the company explaining that. Is what they said true? Yeah. When you went to go check on Social Security, we talk about retirement benefits, disability benefits, survivor benefits, and said I should be off work. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. So let's see. So okay, somebody's asking a multiple part question. Can I start and then suspend benefits after FRA and before 70? Yes, that's what I was talking about, the voluntary delayed retirement credits. Yes, you can. So voluntary delayed retirement credits. And I think I have that. I've moved it around on my website. I've got the, let me see, try to find it on my website. I'll put it up there, but I've also got the my YouTube description. It has the link to the actual Social Security policy reference, because again, not many people do that voluntary delayed retirement credits, and so when they go down to the Social Security office, people, so we don't know what you're talking about. It's just the people at the front windows. The people in the back know what they're talking about. But anyway, wanting to draw my Social Security while still working. If I started mid-year, do they take the penalty earned income limit from the yearly amount or the monthly amount? Okay, good question. So if you go onto the website, it gives you more details, but I've got a little calculator. It tells you when to start, and it tells you about all that stuff. So what you're looking at is what's called the earnings limit for annual versus monthly. And that little dot is annoying, isn't it? Anyway, so basically, this is what you're asking. So this year, the limit is for the year is $23,400. So let's say it's June. So you made $1 billion from January till May. Okay, you made $1 billion. But Social Security doesn't care until you start your benefits. So you start your benefits in June. They don't care what you made up until May. So you made $1 billion. That's way over 23,400. They don't care. You're going to start your benefits in June, and you just say, "Hey, I want to start my benefits in June." They go, "Okay, no problem. We don't care about the $1 billion. We just care about what you're going to make going forward. Are you going to make under $1,950 a month?" And if you say yes, then you can start your benefits in June. No, with $1 for every $2 over, anything like that. No issues whatsoever. And then the following year, you can't do that monthly earnings limit thing again. You can only do that one time. So this year, for the rest of the year, $1,950 a month. And why did they come up with the $1,950? It's basically $23,400 divided by 12. So $1,950 a month for the rest of the year. And as long as you're under that, you can start your benefits. And it doesn't matter what you made before. Let's see here. Hey, Bella, how we doing today? My doctor's office already sent out letters stating specific medications will no longer be covered by Medicare or even private insurance plans. So this is a snowballing into even private insurance plans. Yeah, they are switching to like biosimilar. That's not really a generic. It's a biosimilar type thing. It's it's some type of chemistry, I guess 101. But anyway. But yeah, some of the name brand type stuff they are moving away from. But remember, and then I've got on my website, this is an important thing a lot of people miss, that you can ask for different types of actually the best place to look on there is the appeals section. On the appeals section, you can appeal a lot of different things. Medicare Advantage prior authorization denials, you can appeal. It tells you how to do that. And then for Medicare Part D, you can appeal that information. So if you have a drug that you've been using for a long time and it's the best one for you, and then your company decides not to do it anymore, and they want you to take some other generic or biosimilar type thing, and you say, "Well, I tried it, but it just doesn't work," then you can ask for a formulary exception. and you have to get with your doctor and submit that to your Medicare Advantage or your Part D program. So you can also ask for tiering selection, because these Part Ds, they have different tiers: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and you pay different for different prices. So you can get an exception on that. There's always appeal rights. So, Tony, I couldn't order all of his life that calculated what he was going to get for his Social Security on the last 2 or 3 years of not working. He got, okay, not sure what that refers to. Steve Brennan, Dr. Ed, need your expertise. Can Doge audit Social Security, disability, and retirement folks? And if they find fraud, can they have them prosecuted? Don't sound right that they have access to our info. Yeah. They do now. And I talked about this yesterday with, as long as they go through all the procedures, that was the issue, is that they were just thrown in there, given access. And, Social Security doesn't play that. You have to get your FBI background checks. You have to do training. You have to use a Social Security issued laptop or a computer that has all the security access. As long as you pass all that, then you have access. I've hired hundreds of people at Social Security, and just people off the street, and, do the FBI background check and all that kind of stuff. And, but they're monitored. And so they get a special pin on there. And if they go in there and start looking at stuff they're not supposed to look at, then we tell them, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, a BCD, a bad conduct discharge, big chicken dinner. They are walked out of the building. But the problem with Doge is none of that was done. They were just said, here, look at everybody's stuff. You have access. And that was the issue. But as long as they do everything according to Social Security policies and regulations, then, they will have access. And can they look for people now once they have access and once they've gone? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's where the fraud is people, working or receiving disability benefits, you're allowed to work and receive Social Security benefits or disability benefits. It's just, you're limited to the amount of work money you can make, and there's trial work periods and extended period of eligibility and all that kind of stuff. Those are the probably the number one reports we used to get from people, supposed fraud reports. And it was usually, an ex-spouse or ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or something, or neighbor down the street that didn't like your loud music, and they would, drop the dime on you and said, hey, this person is working and receiving disability benefits. And we check, and they say, yep, they're working, but they're staying within the congressional allowed limits of, substantial gainful activity and stuff like that. So, but if they didn't, then we go further on the investigation and kick them off and say, hey, you shouldn't have been receiving it for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So you owe us $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Happens all the time, every single day. Well, as far as my loans, I was not notified, not even a bill from 2018 to 2025. What advice do you have? Yeah, reach out to your servicing people. So your website, MyGovExpert, registered on my Google search is unsafe. Third-party attackers can steal. No, it's safe. It's a brand new website. It was, anytime you got a brand new website with so much brand new information. So Google and everything will register it as safe, after, many, many months. So by then it might be too late for you to find that information. So just because it's a brand new website. So I've had the website for a while, but everything has changed, and it is a HTTPS, and S means it's a secured website. So, but you don't put your information in there anyway, unless you want to subscribe to the newsletter. So, I use ScriptCo. I don't take many medications. I can self-pay and bypass this destructive system. So far, my Medigap plan begins October 1st. Thank you, Dr. Weir. And Chapter Medicare. Oh, okay, good. Chapter helped you out. Awesome. So, so you have a Medicare, a Medigap plan. Awesome. That's perfect. I like those. And then you also have a standalone prescription drug plan. And remember, those, they go away every month or every year. Medicare Advantage plans are only good for 1 year, and then they may or may not renew, but they usually change the details. Same thing with prescription drug plans. They're only good for 1 year. So If stuff changes, you start getting more medications or something like that, make sure you check, at the end of the year. But if you get one cautionary thing, if you don't, it sounds like it's not an issue for you because you don't take that many medications. But there's some people that take more medications, and when they buy some of those medications outside of the system, they just pay for it themselves. That doesn't count towards your deductible in the prescription drug plan. So sometimes people lose money because of that. So, uh, David, what is the highest income that a person can have to get Medicaid, and how many years has been that a price? Yeah, it changes pretty much every year, but it really depends on the state, whether you're married and all that kind of stuff. But usually $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 or so coming in. Anything over that, most states won't let you qualify for Medicaid. Bonnie, they must raise the cap. Not enough children that would be paying into the program. Yeah. Yeah, it's not about kind of the demographics of children, just all the money that, we have made over the last several decades have been going to the top. I have a question. My disabled adult son collecting on my benefits, what's his income threshold? So disabled adult son, so he's receiving disabled adult child benefits because he's receiving on your record. So income thresholds is just the regular SSDI, the substantial gainful activity, which is the $1,620 this year. But you go on my website. Let me type it in here: www.mygovexpert.com, and you click on the disability, and it'll working while receiving disability. And there's a guide in there, and it tells you what the difference between a trial work period and extended period of eligibility and SGA and IRWIs and all that kind of stuff. There's also a calculator in there that will help you navigate that whole system. But people on disability are allowed to work, particularly for the first 9 months, because we all want people to try to go back to work if they're able to do it. If not, then that's why Social Security disability is there. So let's see what else here we have. Kathy, Medi-Cal no longer covers my Part B Medicare. So you've been downgraded by California Medicaid. Evidently, when I started collecting my survivor benefits after my husband died, I was making too much. Yes, that's one of the really bad things is if, you get an extra buck a month, and this happens sometime when people get COLA, is they're like, oh, I get 8% COLA, awesome, or I get 5% COLA, my benefits are going to increase, but that puts you over like $1 over the limit, and then they kick you off Medicaid. So you get an extra $40 a month because of the COLA, but then you have to pay out another $300 a month from now on because you no longer have Medicaid. So yeah, that's a tough situation, unfortunately. So they're no longer going to pay for your Part B premium. You should possibly still have the extra help with prescription drugs. They usually, if you get Medicaid, they automatically sign you up for that. So that should still continue. But if you might have lost your Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan as well, because your Medi-Cal was downgraded. So you might have to find another Medicare Advantage plan, or because you lost Medicaid, you might have a special option to get a Medicare supplement plan. So you have a lot more options. So you can reach out to Chapter there and see if they can find something better for you, and see when your current plan is going to stop. Usually states allow 1 or 2 months after that to cancel your Medicare Advantage plan. So can you give that information about who looks at your files? Give that information. Yeah. Sir, I am full of admiration for your knowledge and generosity. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. The U.S. Marines honored my 30-year-old U.S. Air Force dad. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You got cut off there, so sorry. I didn't read the rest of it. 30 years. Wow, that's a long time. Why have people allowed themselves to not see the truth? There are 15 cognitive distortions. If I walk in a store where politics discuss, I walked out. Yeah. I try not to do, well, I avoid partisanship. but politics is just about resource allocation. Rather than a business, it's talking about the government. Okay, this political party thinks resources should go here. Another political party thinks, resources should go there. So I talk about resources. I think Social Security should be, uh, strengthened. Sergeant Weir, great to see you well. Oh, thank you. Did I put up? Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. How is Congress going to pass anything with this president who is destroying the Constitution? Now more. Okay, yeah, that's kind of partisanship. So, greetings. Hello, greetings from Germany. How long does it take for the Social Security Administration to manual calculate my SSDI after 12 years missing earnings I have been added? Ooh. If you did it from Germany, whatever I say, it's going to take 3 or 4 times, the amount, because it's, you've done it through probably the federal benefits unit there. And then they have to send that back to the Office of International Operations in Baltimore, and all, staffing is, super, super low. So, but however long it takes them, it doesn't matter how long it takes them. If they determine your benefit amount needs to be increased because you found those earnings and they added those earnings to your record, then if your benefit should have been, X plus $300 3 years ago, then they will go back and pay you that retroactive all the way back. So how long is it going to take? That's all bets are off nowadays. But at least once they do, you'll get all your back pay. I know that's no consolation because you need your money now, but unfortunately, reach out to your politician and say, hey, why does it take Social Security forever to do anything nowadays? Well, because they're at a 50-year low, and then plus Doge came in there and, fired or relocated a lot of people outside of the agency. Yeah. They voluntold them to leave. I have been drawing my husband's Social Security since 2022. He passed away in 1992. Someone has been calling me about my Social Security. Do they call you, or is it a scam? Yeah, no. Social Security, I mean, if you've got some type of pending thing, I've been drawing my husband's Social Security since okay, there might be one situation where you've been receiving survivor benefits for a long time. Maybe your benefits on your own record have increased to more than survivor benefits. Usually Social Security sends out a letter. It's called a WIB-RIB letter, where you're switching from widow's insurance benefits to retirement insurance benefits. And it says, hey, by the way, your benefits on your own record are more now. Usually they just send out the letter. Usually they don't call. But yeah, so check to see if that's why, maybe. Maybe there's someone in your local district office that is really, really gung-ho that wants to make sure. And it's like, hey, this lady can get an extra $300 a month. So I'm really going to make sure, she files and gets those benefits. So if that's the case, then kudos to that person in the local Social Security office. But considering the staffing, that's probably not likely. But call the 800 number. Call the 800-772-1213 and say, hey, have you all been trying to reach out to me? Did you send me a WIB-RIB letter? And first they'll freak out and says, how'd you hear about that? So, and check to see if you're entitled to more money on your own record. I will be ready to get specialist care at a university medical centers when Medicaid is altered. Yeah. So many people are waiting for, things, life-changing, life-saving things about their health until they get that middleman called insurance. It's crazy. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. But anyway, we need to change that. My friend is okay, I already answered that. Let's avoid asking the same questions over and over, please. Any chance of the marriage penalty going away? SSI. Thank you for your great work, Dr. Thank you. Appreciate it. The SSI, probably it's because SSI is a welfare-based benefit. So if you are, dire need, and you need that money, you have low income, low resources, and you're on food stamps, and you're just able to, you're just surviving, and then you marry a millionaire. Yeah. So if that's what you're talking about, a penalty, then I don't think that's going to go away. So let's see here. The main reason Main reason bad the government can get our info is they collate data on all our departments. They know our medical, Social Security, how we vote, and more, and can get this all together and can target us for whatever reason. Yeah, that's been traditionally what all of these agencies have prevented, have tried to not do, is they silo information. So Social Security keeps their information, and the IRS keeps their information, and the INS keeps their information. And so, obviously, if you have a search warrant and all that kind of stuff, one agency can go after another agency and look for that information, but they can't do it, just as a matter of a daily course to look at a master file of everybody. Yeah, like that spitball incident you had in third grade, part of your permanent record, right? But that seems to be maybe on the chopping block where they do have a master file on everybody. So I see my 2 specialists in October. The hospital is rural, but a good one. I expect to walk in there totally different. So I would reach out to your politician. If you live in a rural hospital, in a rural area that has a rural hospital, a lot of rural hospitals throughout the country are, they're barely scraping by. And when those Medicaid cuts, if this big, beautiful bill, as they call it, it's always, if they call it something like that, politicians, it's opposite, right? It's like the Social Security Fairness Act. Yeah, that means it was opposite of fair. So Biden passed that one, and it's the opposite of fair. But anyway, it's, for the 97% of us. But if that passes, then Medicaid is going to lose a lot of money, and a lot of those hospitals depend on Medicaid. And because of the Pay-Go Act, there's also going to be automatic cuts to Medicare. It's not in the bill, but it'll be a result of that bill being passed if it actually is passed. So reach out to your politicians and make sure that doesn't happen to protect your local hospitals. Does Social Security know if you served in the military and add that to your benefits? I was not asked during my phone appointments last week. Can I check on it? My check starts in August. Yeah, reach out to them. Yeah, usually they ask that. It's part of the claims path. But sometimes that's one thing, the agencies can make, contracts, so, with other agencies. So one of the things that Social Security did is they got authority to get, NARA.gov, the National Archives, to get duty 214s and get military type stuff. But it really depends on when you served. You might get a little bit extra. But yeah, call up and say, hey, I noticed they didn't ask me about my military. Is it just because when I served in the military, because there's certain years, and again, you can check on my website. If you go to the more section and click on veterans, it'll tell you about that. If you served between 40 and 57, 2001. And so, yeah, if you served after 2001, it doesn't matter. From 78 to 70, 1978 to 2000, it makes a little bit of difference. But yeah, reach out to them and just double check. It's usually not a much, but hey, a buck's a buck, right? Let's see. Nick Dimmy 68 asks, hi, for 2024, I made 148,000, but on my Social Security statement says for 2024 that I only made 38. So maybe on that 100, the other, you did not pay FICA taxes on that the other amount was exempt for some reason. But if you actually paid FICA taxes on that, then you need to get that corrected. So can you briefly describe who Chapter is and how they help? Just information based on circumstance. Yeah, they help with Medicare. I didn't want to get into the whole Medicare type stuff, but there were so many people out there giving incorrect information and people, leading people down the wrong road. So my son and I look for a place to help, and that's who we chose, Chapter Medicare. And if you are new to Medicare and you need to find a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan, then you call them, and they work throughout the country, and they can help you find one. It's 100% totally free. So they can help you out. So, and they check all the plans in your particular area, give you your options. And if you like them, then you go ahead and they'll help you enroll in whatever plan you like. But if you don't, then it is what it is. 15% being withheld from Social Security checks for student loans default has been a law since 1996 and was enacted. Yeah. So, yeah, but they decided, that's been on and off. But Department of Education, the current administration, decided not to do that. So, because it was on pause for a long time. So yes, that's been a reality for a long time, the Treasury offset program. But the current administration decided to repause that specifically for Social Security benefits. So, all right, let's see here. We have a very good Democratic congressman in California. We sent many texts and emails, and many more in our state who listen to us. Bernie Sanders. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Reach out. Sarah at Chapter really helped me out. I told her you sent me. She was delightful. Oh, okay. Perfect. Yep. Sarah. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. That's as long as Chapter continues doing the right thing, we're going to continue to recommend them. But, just like every other company out there, if they start going south, then we're going to say bye-bye. But as of now, they're doing a really phenomenal job. Actually, I'm having Ari, who was one of the co-founders of Chapter. He's going to be here on the 10th and answer your questions. And we're going to talk about those scammy grocery cards that you see advertised on Facebook and all that. So we'll talk about those and answer all your questions about all things Medicare on the 10th, June 10th, that is. My friend told me she was able to collect a monthly check prior to her filing for benefits that was equal to half of her husband's benefit. Was able to collect monthly benefits prior to her filing. Yeah, so she had to do that before 2016. They changed the law in 2016, and you can't do that anymore. So, and they grandfathered in, or I guess in this case, grandmothered in, possibly. But yeah, as of 2016, you can't do that anymore. Regarding the question about yearly earned income limit or monthly mid-year, if you do go over the monthly income in June, Ford, will they hold out your penalty in full? They pay you your benefit. Yeah, if you tell them you're going to stay under 1950 and you don't, then yeah, you'll have issues. But just between you and me, the computer system, the IRS, when they tell Social Security how much you made the previous year, they don't break it down by month. So if you made $1 billion, before you started your benefits, and then you made $2,600 in 1 month there, the computer system. All right, I shouldn't say that. So I'm teaching you all how the sausage is made. But on the other side of that, sometimes when you file for those benefits and the claim specialist makes a mistake, and my employees in my office always did this right. It's called the non-service months. They're supposed to check a box in every month you're going to stay under the 1950, your allegation that you're going to stay under the 1950. Sometimes people don't do it correctly and they mess it up. And then the following year, Social Security sends you that nasty gram that says, hey, you said you were going to stay under 23 or 1950 or whatever, 23,400, and you didn't. All you have to do is go down there and say, yes, I made $1 billion, but it was before I started collecting Social Security benefits, and they'll correct it. So, but hopefully your claim specialist did it right. You'll know if you get a letter next year that says you have an overpayment. And if you do, again, don't sweat it. Just go down there and show them, yep, you're good. And then tell them, hey, give that person some training. So if the worst comes to worst, Social Security is going to stay where we are at now. I wouldn't worry if you could survive with the money now. It'll be okay. Change, just take time and it goes. Well, actually not, Mary. And the worst comes to worst, that it does stay and the trust fund runs out. And then in about 8 or 9 years, everybody will get a 20% cut. So survive with the money now minus 20%. So that's the issue. So love this. Oh, I love this guy. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's find some people I don't recognize. Get some new. David, the other bad here is in Louisiana. I had a medical malpractice back in 21. There's a hole in me. Okay, oh gosh. Let's see. Get some other. I don't think I've seen Don here before. Follow up on question on the decline Part B with employer insurance. then starting Part B in special enrollment period. Can supplement be denied because of pre-existing condition? No, not if you're in your special enrollment period. So if you're new to Part B, then no, they cannot deny you. No extra charges, extra premiums for your Medicare supplement or anything. So you're in your special enrollment period. So you have 6 months from when you start B. So starting B is the trigger. So let's see. Get some. Okay. Wife, older and lower earner, to max survivor benefits and increase monthly cash flow. Can wife take reduced Social Security on her record and claim survivor benefits after she reaches 67 and get 100% of survivor benefits? Absolutely. Yes. And people do it that way, or they do it the reverse, where they collect survivor benefits first and then wait till 70 to collect benefits on their own record. The way you're doing it, don't wait till 70 because survivor benefits don't increase after full retirement age. But yes, 100%. If the numbers work out, that is a good strategy. Collect benefits on your own record and wait for the survivor benefits to increase. But one issue, it depends when the deceased spouse took their benefits. If they started their benefits early, 62, 63, 64, then the benefits, the surviving spouse benefits won't increase beyond 82.5%. So you'll never get the max amount. So usually about 62.5 is when the survivor's spouse benefits max out. It's called the rib limb widow's limitation. But it really depends on when the deceased spouse took their benefits. If they waited till their full retirement age, or they were receiving disability benefits, or they waited till after their full retirement age, then that doesn't apply. So wait until your full retirement age. So, and then go onto my website, and then I've got a specific section on that, on survivor, and it tells you all about that, and what is the widow's limb. It's a convoluted, and then I got a little potential survivor benefits calculator there. Again, all those are free. If you want to donate and help out, then that'd be awesome too. Let's see here. We're getting close to the end. Let me find some new people. Lynn, that happened to my friend. Turns out that Medicaid is now covering her Medicare premium. So part of the Medicare savings program. Awesome. Social Security considers that an SSI benefit. Anyone collecting SSDI with added SSI benefit gets paid on the third. So yeah, so people, this is what I talked about, people increasing their Social Security checks by filing for the right benefits. There's a lot of people that receive, X benefits, but they don't realize they're also eligible for Y benefits. So this one person can receive SSI, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, the Medicare savings program where they pay the $185, and extra help with the prescription drugs. And so one person can receive all that. And there's so many people out there that I think they said that 50% of people are not receiving that Medicare savings program where they can get their $185 paid for. 50% of the people are, and 50% of the people that are eligible for those aren't getting it because they just don't know they can get it. So please share, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff so we can teach these algorithms that this is important information and people need it. It's fun watching cats online, but hey. All right, I'm going to do, if you will indulge me for about 2 seconds, supposedly this program that I use, I haven't been able to show videos because there's been like a 10-second delay. Supposedly they fixed it. So I'm going to show a little video just to kind of test it so I can check it during a live. I have to test it during live. So indulge me for about 2 seconds. This is the video I'm going to talk about tomorrow. So let's see
Elon Musk
if it works out.
and his little gang of
And we'll make sure we got audio and all that.
miscreants, call them the Muskrats.
So this is Senator Whitehouse talking about Doge and their access. So I'll talk about this tomorrow.
The cover that they went in under They were
All
going
right.
to look for
So I just want to
waste,
show a
fraud,
few
and
seconds
abuse.
just to test it. So
But I think we
test it during
know
live to see if this
waste,
actually works.
fraud,
So
and
I
abuse
thank you for your indulgence.
veil
All right. That is it
in
for
which
today. Please
the
make sure
naughty
you take
boys
care of
locked
each other,
themselves
and we will
was the
see you
thing.
next time. Have an awesome
Because
night.
if you were actually concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse, you wouldn't fire all the inspectors general. You'd actually probably try to recruit